The Instagram algorithm was hackable. It was based on if it got likes, if it was hashtagged well, and if it got comments. So if you just asked people to like and comment on it, and then you hashtagged it well, you're gonna hit the explore page just because you did the tactical side of things right. Nowadays, the feed has to be best content. Otherwise, they wouldn't even still be a platform.
Hello to everyone, Anatoliy is here, and today in our Ecom Business Stream Podcast, we have a great guest who is handling several e-commerce accounts by advertising on the social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. So this person, his name is Derek Videll. Derek Videll is the founder of the socialbamboo.com, the agency which is helping e-commerce brands and direct-to-consumers businesses to scale through the different offers. Especially he has one great offer which he would like to share with you and expand on that information, so maybe some of you will be able to understand how you can really scale your business by implementing such kind of offers which they are doing for their clients. In the same time, I would like to share with you that he is a host of the Social Media Entrepreneurs Podcast. This podcast actually inspiring and admiring several people out there and take it off really great attention online. If you're interested into that, just after this, go to listen because they have a great guest there, and especially there is a valuable information sharing with the crowd. And Derek is an expert on online marketing. Since for 4.5 years, he decided to create his own agency. From the simple salesperson who was selling the high quality kitchen equipment, he decided to move to the entrepreneurship, and his sales background actually helped him to scale his business and being in our podcast today. Derek, what's up? How is that going for you?
Dude, it's going well. First thing in the morning, but this is my favorite way to start the day.
Amazing. By the way, in Derek time zone, it's around 7 a.m. because I'm in Portugal. He's in Colorado now. It's really a big gap on the timing, but I appreciate to be here on such an early time. And I really want to listen a bit. Let's start, as always, to start in how you started, how the sales actually experience helped you to start the business. Is it important for people to have the sales background and so on? And after that, we'll move to the real things which you're doing for your clients. Sounds good?
Yeah, sounds great. Yeah, it's super important to have sales either in your background or you got to get that skill right away. The biggest hurdle that I help business owners with, because I mainly help business owners in their first couple of years. That's who the podcast and my YouTube channel finds, at least people looking to do it themselves. And the biggest hurdle, if they're an artist, they're like, I want to paint my own art and work for myself. I'm like, well, your main job is selling art, or no matter what you do, your main job is going to be selling said item for years until you can delegate the sales process. But it's the thing that the people
100%.
Don't always compute in their business and their decision, and it's not always what they signed up for. But I did that for 7.5 years as a traveling salesman across Colorado, and I sold very high quality kitchen products. So it's called Cutco. We're famous for the people being the ones who cut the penny. And yeah, it was a great experience, and it really not just taught me sales, but it taught me that it takes a few years to get really good at something, and there's going to be a lot of no sales along the way, and it's just a numbers game. You just got to stick with it and just keep at it, and you'll eventually get there.
By the way, I'm just wondering, because it's one of the things which is people are quitting fast when they're in the sales position. Just how was for you to hear your first no's? Because there are so many, especially at the beginning. Was a challenge for you? Was something making you sad, or what was your emotions, or you took it that as a challenge and I'm gonna beat that? Because really every
I was
every
in
other
sales
people,
or my beginning entrepreneurship.
When you were in sales, because really I'm wondering about your sales mentality when you just started that journey, because everyone has their own stories about it, but what was your feelings? You find out the challenge which you need to beat, or you were quite scared, which is normal as well because you don't know yet what the sales means?
I wasn't scared of people and cold calling. I didn't care about that at all. And if you can just do that at the beginning and just get enough appointments, you'll figure out the sales in time. But a lot of reps would freeze up just when they have to call someone they've never met before and try to get them to see them for an hour. And that was the thing that I really took pride in. And I think I had below average order, and my closing ratio was about company standard, and the amount of referrals I got were about company standard. But I didn't care about picking up the phone, and I was really good at getting people to book with me. But I would just, you didn't pick up, boom, next call. They said no, next call. I just had no time in between the calls. So I always try to set an example in my office of just how to really pound out the phone calls. And that was the one natural talent that I had at the beginning. Otherwise, I was no better of a salesman than anyone else there. I would say I'm pretty personable. So I had that going for me. And I was 21 when I started. A lot of them are like 18. And I think that little gap right there really helps you get better at talking to adults. So yeah, I didn't have a ton of natural talent except for an extreme drive to get better. And I think I only made about $10,000 my first year, but I was a college kid, so it was good. And second year, third year, I was just much better every single year, and probably increasing my income between 20 to 40% every year for 7 years. Every single year was higher than the last. And yeah, I to answer your question, I think I definitely had a lot of times where I was considering quitting, and then you get a big sale and then you're like, never mind, I'm staying here. So you really gotta always keep your books full with appointments, because you only get to the point of actually quitting when you've had a bit of a sales slump, and then you're looking at no appointments ahead of you, and then you can't pay rent, and you just lose all of your momentum. So you just really got to keep that momentum going. And then the other thing that is really smart that the sales company does is at the beginning they have what's called a fast start. So they have you book as many appointments as you can for a week before you even get started. And I booked 33 appointments in my first 10 days, which was the number one in my training group by a good amount. I think number two was like 6. So it really showed me that the rest of the world didn't know how to hustle. And knowing that really gave me a mindset advantage to know I can beat out a lot of people just from sheer drive, even though my average order and closing ratio wasn't anything special. I did 33, and then in my training class of 15 people, number 2 was 6. So I was baffled when we came back to the end of the contest, the fast start, and everyone shared their results, and I was like, I won? Like, how did I win? Like, I sold half of what I wanted to, but I had just done so much work than anyone else that it really gave me a good mindset for, okay, I can actually do this as long as I stick with it.
Awesome. So you were doing that, and actually I see you were succeeding on that. What pushed you on the different direction where you decided that I'm gonna be the agency owner and this is what I want to do? Like, how did you find out the advertising for yourself and so on?
So by the end of my career with the company, I had won pretty much all of the awards they had. So I felt like I did everything I wanted to do with that company. And I was just kind of getting bored of the sales approach. I've got a lot of friends that still do it, and they sell more and more every year. And I know that would have been my fate too. And I was making 6 figures when I left that job. And I knew I was going to go back to being broke, but I didn't care. I wanted to start an online business. I love the idea of the 4-hour work week and a lot of the other books that people picked up at that time. But I also could see we were doing a lot of events like home and garden shows, or we'd buy a kiosk at the malls around the holidays. And every year I'd just see the foot traffic go down because they were all going to Amazon. And I was like, I just really want to get on in the online space. And I'm very innovative. I want to have a blank canvas that I can just figure things out. And at the beginning of my career in sales, every appointment I'd get home and be processing it for like twice the amount of time the appointment was. I was like, oh, what if I said this? What if I said this? And then by the end, I guess I didn't have that as much. I wasn't learning at a quick rate because there's really only so much you can learn with selling, a select number of products, and they don't really add very many products very often. And I just want a blank canvas. Like AI, I want everything to do with it, right? I love learning about all the new stuff and self-educating myself. So it was just time to move on. I was getting kind of bored of it by the end, and I had an idea for a product that I thought was totally going to work, and I worked on my first invention for 2.5 years. Never sold a single one, but I did do drop shipping, affiliate marketing, print on demand, and all these private labeling, everything that you could do with all the other products in that market while I was trying to make the invention work. And I built an Instagram account to about 50,000, and that led me to starting an Instagram podcast. So it was a very necessary failure, and I do some different e-commerce stores now. But yeah, it was mostly started from an invention that I was really sure was going to work. I'm happy to share about it too, but that's what ultimately made me pull the plug on the sales job.
Nice. So how hard for you was in your agency when you created to generate first client? And have you got any kind of courses, mentorships, or you just was trying to play by yourself by learning like on YouTube or somewhere else?
I wish I started an agency actually, but what I did get into is I bought a course on how to sell courses and do it through the webinar model. So it was 2019. And if I did this in 2017, it probably would have gone really well. But as my first ever digital education experience, I mean, I was hardly professional. I'm still not the most professional person probably, but I know I was like recording videos I hadn't even showered yet. Like, didn't understand how to do lighting, video editing. I mean, I was going into, let me run Facebook ads to a cold audience from no follower account to watch my 1 hour free training webinar and then sell a $997 course. I was going that standard model, and a bunch of people were getting rich at that time. And luckily the podcast was getting a lot of followers right away. I called it Instagram marketing secrets at the beginning, and I owned the keyword Instagram and Instagram marketing as the #1 spot within like 2 weeks of starting the podcast. It was quite the gap there. So I had an organic audience that I could always sell whatever I was making to. So that's really what kept me afloat, was the podcast audience. But I spent about $10,000 on Facebook ads before I sold my first course. And then that person later told me they came from my podcast. So I'm like, okay, I guess I haven't even sold one yet on Facebook ads. And thinking back to how that webinar was and the timing of the whole thing, I'm not surprised at all. So yeah, it was an interesting time. And I got done with that. And then I started innovating all these different offers. And it wasn't until about 2.5 years into the digital education business that I would say I came out with an offer that works, one that's actually sustainable. And it's still the offer that I sell today, which is a done with you program. So I'm actually now getting into agency work for a very specific client. And I've done agency work from time to time just by request if I had the amount of time in the past. But I went the backwards route than how I would recommend someone do it. I made a do-it-yourself offer, then a done-with-you offer, then a done-for-you. But usually if you do done-for-you, done-with-you, do-it-yourself, it's a cleaner process.
That's for sure. Like better feedback. Let's be honest. I have done for you product, and I'm taking like from day one. I remember when I decided to do that because I had my Shopify stores, dropshipping base, and we succeed on it with my partner. Made multiple 7 figures. All cool. People start asking me to mentor them, and the thing is that after that, my mentor said to me, "You have to move to the agency space." Okay, I was following what he's saying. The thing is that done for you, I understand how big risks I'm taking on my shoulders, and the feedback will be, and I didn't understand that time that feedback will be always different. And really, like in one day they love you, in another day they hate you, in another day again they love you, and at the end they left you. In 5 months they can hate you and write some comment, or they love you still. It's a weird feedback when you're doing for someone. They are not appreciate that well. To compare when I was doing mentorship before, then you done with them, you just explain them, they do by themselves. They fail, but they still appreciate that you explain it. So it's a kind of safe position where you're sharing your experience, but in the same time, like you are keeping your name as clean as possible. So I mean, definitely it's a way to go. I mean, it's a great one, and that's what was working for you the best, as you understand.
Yeah, there's pros and cons to all of them. You explained it perfectly there. I never wanted the liability on the done for you side, and honestly, I didn't know exactly what my vehicle was, like what's the strategy that I really want to do. And that's why I couldn't really figure out what my done for you offer would be. I couldn't find a particular niche, especially when you're relying on organic traffic on a podcast. I mean, I'd be talking to realtors and e-commerce people and coaches and of all different parts of their career, just starting or, well established, and picking a niche is like the easiest thing that can still take a very long time to do. So that's why I was more making offers for whoever the podcast drug in, because I couldn't get the paid ad side working. So I was just adjusting. And that's why my niche really for the podcast and YouTube is just B2C, because the main strategy that I teach does work for all of them. But on an agency side, you really do need to niche down so that your DM efforts are more targeted or your ads are more targeted, and then you can become the go-to person in a space. And owning the B2C space would be pretty difficult to be the go-to guy for every B2C business out there. Probably impossible. But yeah, I'm doing some done for you work now too, and it really just shows that you got to get started, because you're never going to talk to any business owner that's like, yeah, I did it all perfectly the first time. Certainly wasn't my story.
Nice, bro. So, okay, Derek, tell us more about what kind of advertising strategies you're using for the meta base, like Instagram, Facebook. Is there something what you find out that's working the best, which is you were telling me that before the podcast that there is offers which is really you want to share? I wondering to hear about that, and like maybe I will in the same time will get more and more questions about it, because it's really interesting to know some kind of like hacks about the advertising.
A lot of e-commerce people are usually pretty interested in this once I explain it. So I'll let you know, with the e-commerce brand, I tried everything. I mean, I even did like a free ebook funnel for an e-commerce company, but I've done webinars, VSL. So I've done so many on the digital education side. And then I've done ascension funnels. I've done, ads that you just try to sell the product directly from it. Pretty much every major type of advertising campaign that is in the book, .com Secrets with Russell Brunson. I've done all of those funnels. And the one thing that worked consistently for us is every time we launched a new product, we would do a giveaway for that product and gain an audience around it. But it was a little more complicated. It wasn't like a giveaway you see where it's tag 3 friends, like this post, follow everyone we're following, share this to your story. And then you've got an entry, like a bunch of things that people don't want to do. And they always just tag the 3 friends.
Now Meta hate it. I mean, I know that they are even restricted such kind of posts, or just slowing down the the like impressions, so showing to less people, as I know. Plus restrictions are going on. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's definitely a promotional post, and it gets viewed through that lens, and people usually skip through it pretty quickly when you just run it organically. And all those tags don't really mean much, especially because they're just tagging the friends that won't kill them for tagging them in a giveaway. It's not like, here's some targeted clients for you. So it doesn't really work. And it worked back like pre-2016, really. It's been a while since that strategy worked. When the Instagram algorithm was hackable. It was based on if it got likes, if it was hashtagged well, and if it got comments. So if you just asked people to like and comment on it, and then you hashtagged it well, you're going to hit the explore page just because you did the tactical side of things right. Exactly. Nowadays, the feed has to be best content. Otherwise, they wouldn't even still be a platform. So it's not really hackable by those kind of metrics. However, when you run ads, you're not allowed to ask for engagement. You can't say, like this post and all that stuff. Otherwise, the ad would get banned. But what you can do is, so you run a giveaway for the exact offer you're looking to sell. Don't put like an Amazon gift card in there or a tablet. We're not trying to get a bunch of random entries. You only want people who are interested in your product. And And the only way to really do that is to just give away that exact product. So the first landing page is just name and email, or you can do name, email, phone number if you want to make sure they're really interested. So the only people
you
who are going to
just collect leads. Okay.
Yeah.
For e-commerce brands. Okay.
Yep. On that first page. And then on the next page, it says you've got one entry. We'll let you know if you want or not in the next couple weeks. In the meantime, if you'd like to gain more entries to increase your chances to win, you can follow our Instagram for an extra entry, like our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube, comment on our YouTube channel, review our podcast, fill out this survey, share it with a friend, and they all get a custom referral link. And every friend that they get to enter gets them an extra 5 entries. So these are additional entries. They don't have to do them. They just have to do the name and email. So if that's all they wanted to do, great. But it's usually about 30 to 40% of people that just do every additional entry that you give them. So if you're trying to grow your Pinterest or your TikTok and give them that boost, these are people who followed you off of the reason that they want your product, not, oh, cool, reel, I liked that. So they're following you on the basis that you really want to. So you're gaining an audience of people who want your product, which is usually really good for your engagement too when you're posting about your product, because you know that they're following you for that, not just from your free education, whatever that may be, or whatever your free value is on your account. And then to wrap up the giveaway, we say, all right, we've got our winner. For the 5,000 of you who lost, thank you so much for playing. As a consolation prize to say thank you, we'd like to offer you 20% off our website over the next week, or just run some kind of sale at the end. So anyone who was ready to buy gets the chance a couple weeks after the giveaway ends. And everyone who would still like to buy, but not right now, follows you everywhere and you have their email. And the cool thing about this is when you run a lead generation campaign, people only need to see an ad 1 or 2 times to know if they want to enter for free for something. But as pretty much all marketers know, the rule of 7, I believe it is, like people usually need to see an ad 7 to 10 times before they make a purchase. It's really true. So when you're running an advertising campaign where the goal is to try to sell the product right from the ad, and you're new at it and you're not sure if it's going to work, as you're running the ads and you've spent a couple $1,000, you're either like, okay, it's either the price, the website, the marketing, or we just need to let it run longer. So because you always have that last option there, if maybe it just hasn't showed enough times, that's why a lot of companies will burn a few $1,000s before they realize this isn't going to work. And we don't have any followers or emails to show for it. We're trying to sell the product directly, and people just see the ad and they either buy it or they don't. They don't usually pay you a follow or even send you their email or whatever. So it's great because a lot of these people, I just had someone post in our Facebook group yesterday that finished the giveaway about 2 or 3 months ago. And she sold a decent amount of product at the end of it, but then she just got another order, and she's like, hey, I just got another order this morning for $350. And she said that they came from the giveaway a few months ago. So you have another chance to keep these people in your audience and sell to them later. Because I mean, a lot of people usually follow companies for months, if not even years, before they buy their products. And even if you spend a few $100s on the advertising with this, you're going to get a lot of followers and leads at the minimum. And then you can debut your offer. And if it doesn't work, it wasn't for nothing. You have another chance. You can change things up and then send those people another email. So it's really, really great to do if it's an unproven offer and you're brand new at ads. I usually tell people $500 is what I spend if you're brand new. And I haven't seen someone get less than 1,000 entries in over 2 years, spending $500 on this type of advertising campaign.
It's interesting. Tell me please, what kind of objection you're running for such kind of offers? I mean, to bring them to this landing page. So basically they fill up the form, it's bring them to kind of thank you page, which is at the end, or giving them options to subscribe, follow, like, and so on. And like, for example, what kind of niche, one of the stores, what kind of niche, what targeting you have used, and what objections for such kind of campaigns?
Yeah, so right now I'll give you a unique business. I almost always want to be like candles, but let me give you one that's a little bit more difficult. So someone in my program right now does backpacking trips to Yosemite and Yellowstone. So he did a giveaway for people who are interested in backpacking and Yosemite and Yellowstone. And a lot of those things are just straight up interest. So whenever you can just put in the interest very clear, that's pretty much always the best way to go. For artists is sometimes where you have to be a little bit more creative, like unless you're abstract and you can put in like Picasso, then usually the lookalike audiences are better for artists. And then the targeting is a conversions or a leads campaign. And then you're doing that to a custom conversion of just the thank you page of after the name and email. And then, so his targeting was pretty straightforward, backpacking, hiking. We always test a few different audiences, and it's really great because you can also figure out what your best audiences are really quickly when you do a leads campaign versus a sales. Or you can see which ones are really responding to it. It's not conclusive, like which ones are going to buy in the end, right? I know cost per lead doesn't matter as much as cost per sale, but you can at least see if the audience is not interested at all. And yeah, he did a giveaway for someone to win a backpacking trip with him. And then at the end, he ran a $300 off promotion for anyone who booked. And so I think he got about 3,000 entries.
So means first thing first, it's like conversions for the lead gen, collecting the leads. Let's say it's 3,000 people has been collected, and then running the conversion campaign, like retargeting for those kind of 3,000 people with the offer. Let's say right now we are on sale 20% only for people who enter our questionnaire or whatever. I mean, so basically the sales happening from the retargeting campaign after all this giveaway.
Retargeting is not necessary, although I do recommend it when they get a lot of entries, and especially if they have an offer like his that's higher involvement, where they got to call their friends and family and try to take off time from work, and it can take a little bit longer to make the decision about booking a $1,500 backpacking trip that will happen in a couple months, and it's like a week-long trip. So otherwise, you have their email at the minimum. And the cool thing is when you have an email with the subject line and the winner is, or something along those lines, you got to open it to see if you won or not. So usually the open rate is 50 to 70% on that email. So that's, it's about double what you get on other open rates. So that's why the sale works really well there too, is because everyone opens that email to see if they won or not. So you can do the retargeting as an option. Otherwise, I always tell them, post on your Instagram story and your Facebook story and say the winner has been announced by email. So we don't announce it anywhere else. We just try to post on all those platforms and say, go check it, go check it, go check it. And now that's why I'm thinking I want to get everyone's phone number so that we can text them, go check the email too, and really get that even higher. And just get as much impressions to that email as we can.
So basically, like all the sales going through the email marketing. I mean, by follow up them with the win, and so all the time it's like something new collection came. If it's a clothing store or whatever it is, you collect good enough quantity of the emails. After that, you just send them email and they bind through that link, and you understand that it worked out. But in general, like how it's this kind of giveaways is good for the new collections or new product launch, or it's for even any kind of general stuff. Let's say someone's selling screwdrivers. I mean, the good one for the handyman, like electrical one, let's say. So in this case, would it be working like giveaway? And plus, product supposed to be really something high demand product, or it's supposed to be exactly this particular product which you try to advertise. I mean, to push them for all this filling up the email, phone number, and after that follow you in the social medias.
So the e-commerce products that work the best are going to be the ones that are, actually fun products to buy. I'll say, like, if I was doing it for like dinnerware or I don't know, trash bags, like, that's not that exciting. Like, enter to win trash bags. So like you would draw the line there. You mentioned screwdrivers. So unless it's like a really cool new screwdriver, then it probably wouldn't be what you'd want to do it for. And then as far as new businesses or established, it works great for all of them. I had someone go from 26,000 to 33,000 followers on Instagram. And a lot of times Instagram's really difficult to grow at this point. Like a lot of those big companies have even been locked at whatever follower amount they're at. So it's great.
Yeah, it's supposed to be
boost across the board. I just say if your offer is unproven, we're going to get conclusive data at the end if you need to make some tweaks or not. And if your offer works, it's going to crush. You're going to get a bunch of leads and you're going to get a bunch of sales after, because we already know that it sells and you already know the marketing that sells it. So if you already know everything that needs to happen to get orders, then it usually works out very well for people to recoup their entire cost of the advertising campaign, even with the sale at the end. But for the artists and the clothing stores that don't know if people want to buy their art yet, or if they've figured out what that piece is, they're going to get a bunch of leads at the minimum, because there's a lot of people who still be like, I like that clothing, or I like those paintings. Like, I'll take it for free. But then they didn't want it bad enough to buy it. So those artists, especially now that they have those extra people in their audience and they keep coming out with new work, it's great because they'll eventually, see something that they like. It is the idea.
Got it. And this kind of giveaways, it's like time to time, or like 24/7 you're running? Or it's
it's not an evergreen model. You'd have to be in a huge market to do it like that. But I would say the max I recommend running in a year is 4. Most companies, it's usually 1 or 2, and it's just a big boost to all of your audiences. We do post about it to our organic audience, because if you have a ton of emails, send them to it. Even though the first step is collecting their email, now you have all of the additional entries for your social media platforms, the share factor. So if you have a large audience anywhere, you can even run this organically, where you send them through this model and just cross-pollinate all of your audiences to everywhere else that you're looking to grow.
Yeah, I completely understand that. So it makes sense. And between those offers, what campaigns as well do you prefer and see as a successful model for you in the regular basis for your internal clients?
Do you mean the campaign type, like conversions?
Yeah, I mean, you run except the social media followers? Do you run the conversions campaign as well? I mean, to scale on the, let's say, particular 99% of the traffic going to one product, and do you run such kind of campaigns, which is giving 99% of the sales and it's going 24/7, or you focusing exactly on that strategy which you just described?
It's more of a big boost strategy, and we try to hold it around the time of their business, where it's it's our 8th anniversary giveaway or something along those lines. So it's not just like, we wanted your email, so it's a giveaway. We put it under some kind of premise of why we're doing it. And that's why if you're posting it organically, it might lose its luster when you're just posting a giveaway all the time. And it's not something that I say do a monthly version of. And the one exception I'll say is if a company's doing this with all their different products. So now we're going to do a giveaway for this one. Now we're going to do a giveaway for this one. And you're just gaining different pools of audiences for each specific offer, is when you could justify doing more of them. So I had an artist that paints professional athletes. He does Tom Brady, he does Michael Jordan, Saquon Barkley. Wow. He's doing athletes from all different sports and all different states. So the people who want Michael Jordan is way different than Tom Brady. So he does one where it's the Michael Jordan giveaway, targeting Michael Jordan's audience and UNC alumni and where Michael Jordan went to college and everything. And then he'll turn around and he can do another one the next month for Tom Brady and target those audiences. So there's exceptions like that where it makes more sense. But if you're going to give away the exact same offer each month or something, that would be a little bit too much. But it's quite the process to do this correctly. I mean, over the last 4 years, I've made my entire business just around consulting around this. And I don't even do a do-it-yourself on this anymore because no one could do it when I gave them the videos. It's just a little bit too complicated, especially because a lot of them are doing their first ad campaign. But there's so many little tricks that I've picked up at this point of exactly what your caption should say, and the emails, because after they enter, they're going to get an email sequence that warms them up so that they're ready to buy by the time we run the sale at the end. It's not as simple as enter to win, here's the sale, boom, they all bought. Like, we need multiple sales emails and the retargeting
They need
ads
to
can come
engage.
into
They
it.
need to know you.
They
need
so
to
this is your
become your
chance. They enter.
loyal audience.
Yeah. Cold audience, very easy to convert into a lead to win your product for free, but they're not ready to be sold to yet. So we have a couple weeks in between the time that they enter the giveaway and it ends that we're very strategic about how to warm them up, even with the content that we post and everything. So when people have a goal of actually having a profitable ROI, it's not a simple campaign. However, I have made it as templated as possible because I've done it with over 150 businesses at this point. So I'm doing actually I always say my last course revision, but I said that every time. So, whenever Facebook changes up enough things or the giveaway programs that we use change things up, I got to go through and re-record the course. So I'm actually about a third of the way through with my final revision of the course. And so I always keep it updated. And especially if I see a student do something that works really well, then I'm going to go put that back in the course. But there's lots of tricks of the trade that we've picked up on exactly the verbiage that works best.
I would say that this system, actually, who is listening to us, I would like to give feedback from my end. It's a really smart idea to do that, because nowadays to get social media followers, it's a hard from one hand, but it's easy from another hand. And it all depends what tactics you have used, how well known you're in your niche, and this is how you can generate more and more different people on your end. But in this way, you could be unknown and you can really generate for you loyal people in matter of couple of months, just by doing again and again this kind of offer, and getting really engaged followers, which is it's really wonderful tactic, because then you are able to sell them for years organically, because they already knows you, they already loves you. In a matter of time they start buying from you, and then in half a year or year they buying from you again and again and again, because you become a known brand for their surrounding. And I see how many brands which we are handling, especially clothing brands, they are selling online organically without any ads, just because of super loyal audience. I mean, it's a superpower to generate this kind of loyal audience, and after that they're gonna be treat you forever if you're gonna be just continue producing the interesting content and the products. So this way it's guys really well step-by-step explanation about how you can become from unknown to someone who people will start following, and really gonna be exciting to see the new things, new offers, and so on. That's cool, man. I really this strategy it's kind of interesting. Not like that kind of standard for me, but I mean that I never heard about that before. Obviously to get followers and so on, but the way how you said that Facebook social media platform doesn't like this comment and follow, and you just create this kind of ideas about the thank you page, which is great. And how here is my question is regarding that, how is the Facebook and Instagram approving the ads for the giveaways, because they hate that as well in general. So how do you play with the ad copies and creatives itself to make it approved?
So you can't ask for engagement on the ad is basically the only boundary that you can't overstep. Otherwise, giveaways are fine. And then, you can't give away alcohol or, any of those other kind of things. But otherwise, there's no boundary that you're overstepping, as long as the landing page you send to is only collecting name, email, and or phone number. Those are all fine. On the next page, after they enter, is when the additional entry steps for the follow you on Instagram and everything come in, but they don't scan that page. That's not part of their advertising policies to worry about that page. So since all of that magic happens after the thank you page, after the landing page, it is the thank you page, then you're totally good to have all of that stuff. So I haven't had anyone get banned for a long time. Someone just did, but it was because someone kept reporting their ads and it had nothing to do with the giveaway, and then they got it back right away. But otherwise, I haven't had anyone get a suspension for running a giveaway in a very long time.
Actually, you're right. Yeah, that system will be analyzed the landing page where people are diving in, but nothing about the next steps, what is going to be happen to them after they enter their emails or press on another button on the site. Yeah, it's analyzing the landing page itself. So definitely makes sense. Seriously, it's a good tactic to try. I mean, that's really interesting. And if you are just beginning brand, or looking for something like that to where should I get my audience, this is actually the way. And I believe that Derek, one of the greatest person about that, to share with you the strategy. He already explained it to you now, but if you need some implementation and more details, I believe that he will be more than happy to share with you, which is obviously at the end of the podcast. You will be having all his social media details under the video and under the podcast. And Derek, since we are just running around of time, I just would like to ask you one last question, which is I'm asking every single person who is on my podcast at the end of the podcast, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Can you tell me, please, like what would you choose, the journey or end result?
I am obsessed with the journey. It almost makes me scared sometimes because it almost makes you so okay with failure to a point that you shouldn't be, because like I've gotten to a point in entrepreneurship where I'm like, okay, you've got the skills, now make as much money as you can, stop getting random ideas and then being so obsessed with, I just got to know if it works, and if it doesn't, I'm totally cool with that. I really don't care about the failures because it's just a learning experience. And I think as long as you understand things conceptually and you have a love for marketing, just trying things randomly, even buying random people's courses just to see what's in there. Who knows? Might learn something. Let's see. I'm going to be in this for the rest of my life. So maybe I learn one thing in there and I'll pay for the course with that one thing. So I've really got a very risk averse mindset, and you really have to have that. And I don't know what the end destination is, because it is just owning multiple companies, having multiple successful inventions. I've got my second original invention that I ordered yesterday for the first bulk quantity, so I'm super excited about that. But there's not like I sold 3 companies and retired at 40. I don't really care about an early retirement, at least as I see it right now. But I also don't know exactly what I'll be doing in 2 to 3 years. But I sure as hell know what I want to be doing each day and each week and month, I'll say. I've got a very clear vision, always got some ideas that I'm really excited about. And if you don't have a genuine love for marketing and solving the world's problems, like I feel like, all right, the world needs me is what I'll tell myself sometimes if I'm ever lazy. I'm like, you have great invention ideas in your head and maybe they don't work, but they'll tell me what I should invent next. And you get really good at just telling yourself whatever you need to hear to stay motivated and to stay positive. And it might be just mentally tricking myself and being overly confident sometimes, but I don't really think overconfidence is a thing. None of the reps who weren't a little bit cocky at the start of the sales job ever made it anywhere. They were too focused on remaining humble the whole time. And it's like, that doesn't make you make 100 phone calls in 2 hours. So let's not think that way. I've always been good at just telling myself, like, I'm meant to do this. The world needs me. Let's get to work. I got to, invent some things. So I'm enjoying every day of the process. And I certainly view I love the milestones. I'm always very focused on what's the next major milestone. That's usually not more than a couple months out. So I am still end destination motivated, but they're not ends. I know they're just milestones.
Nice, man. Thank you for this open answer. I love it. Anyway, like guys and girls, as I mentioned, Derek will be provided more details from his end. Easily, you can reach out to him on his social media platforms, on social media profiles, and as well on socialbamboo.com. This is their official agency website where you can go and dive in and look what exactly they're doing for the brands like yours. Derek, would you like to offer or share anything with the people who are listening to us? So maybe you would like to say something.
Yeah, if you're interested in running this giveaway model, if you find me on Instagram at Social Bamboo with an underscore at the end, you can check my bio for exactly how I'm doing it at the time. I would imagine it's as I'm doing it right now, which is done with you or done for you. So if you're a company that you already have an established offer and you don't have the time to learn this and you just want someone who knows exactly how to do it, I can come into your business and run this model for you. Or if you want to learn this yourself, then I have that option as well. It starts with a free phone call, which you'll find in my bio or on my website, socialbamboo.com.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Thank you for everyone who was listening to our podcast today, and I'm gonna be seeing you on another one. And Derek, let's move forward, and if there is gonna be new adventure, as you said, happening, getting a lot of expansion, just reach out to me. Let's record another episode later on about how's that going for you, and we'll share more value. Thank you, Derek, for being today here.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me.